Palm tree removal cost guide. In this episode, we're going to be having a look at palm trees of various sizes and what it's going to cost to remove, say, a small palm versus a medium or large palm tree. We're also going to explore a couple of factors that will add to the cost of palm tree removal and how to possibly mitigate those factors and save yourself quite a bit of money. So first up, a small palm tree is one that I would define as 10 feet tall or smaller. So in this example, we're going to say about 10 foot tall. If you are watching in the example, we've got a small Alexander palm. It's more of a palm clump. There's actually three of them there. But the taller one, if we just focus on the single one, so you could expect to pay anywhere from $100 to $200. If it's sort of in a front yard, easy to take down, and you can back the tree service can back a truck right up to it. Shouldn't cost more than $100, $120. If it's tucked in a backyard like this particular tree, in a pool area, lots of obstacles around like fences and roofs and that type thing, it does take a little bit more time to get it on the ground and a bit of manpower to carry it out the front, plus the cleanup process. So it all adds to the cost. Time is money. So yeah, anywhere between $100 and $200. Next would be a medium palm tree, which I'd define to up to about 20 foot high, 15, 20 foot maybe. So they're starting to get a little bit bigger, a bit bigger trunk, a little bit more weight to them. So you could pay anywhere from $220 to $345, again depending on their overall size and the access to the palm. Another thing that adds to the cost of palm removal is the type of palm it is. So the last example was an Alexander palm. They're really skinny, easy to work on, nice smooth bark. There are other ones like this one here, which is a Washingtonia palm, also known as an Australian cabbage palm. They can be a bit more of a pain to work on. The fronds themselves have a long stem which are riddled with what looks like shark's teeth. They're really sharp, jagged spines that are an absolute pain to work with. And it's just going to cost you more money simply because the arborist who is working on the tree will have to really take their time cutting it down so they don't stab themselves. They just can't work as quickly. And with these type of trees, now this one's been regularly pruned, but if you want one removed that hasn't been pruned, so it's got dead leaves hanging all the way down the trunk, again it's going to take more time to firstly to prune up all those leaves to expose the trunk and then to block the trunk down. So the condition that the palm is in and the type of palm, how easy it is to work on, access, that type of thing, do all add to the cost of tree removal. So if you're going to try and mitigate the cost and try and reduce the cost, if you did have a palm in a backyard with poor access, or say you've got several palms and you've only got a little side gate access and the contractor can't get his equipment too close to it, you might think of asking your neighbor if they have rear access via their yard, or if you back onto a laneway or park, you could consider removing a section of fence, depending obviously on the fence you have. If it's a metal colorbond type fence where you can just remove panels, it might save the contractor a lot of time lugging the tree right out the front if it's nice and close. So the last one would be a large palm, which I'd define as about 30 foot high. Now that being said, obviously they do get a lot bigger. That's why I've got such a large price scale on this. So anywhere from $950 to $1,700. In the first picture you see here, we have a queen palm, otherwise known as a crocus palm. So they're probably about 30 foot high. A single one of them, depending on location, probably start a bit lower, maybe at about $700, I'd say, if it could just be dropped and cut up, right up to $1,700. The next photo here is a Canary Island date palm. The trunk is probably about a meter, 3 foot in diameter. There's a lot more sort of timber and weight involved, and it's going to be a lot more time just to get this big tree down and on the ground. So you're probably looking up closer to the $1,500 mark for this particular tree. Now the cost varies too by how much actual weight there is in the timber. The thing a lot of people don't understand about palm trees is it's not actually like a regular tree. They're actually biology-wise a lot closer to a grass. So they don't have a woody stem in the center. It's all moist all the way through the center. It's monocotyledonous, so its bark isn't really the bark. Doesn't feed itself through the bark. Feeds itself through the center. Palm trees in particular are quite acidic. So a regular tree, and the way a tree service is equipped is they'd cut it down, they'd feed it through their mulching machine, then they can recycle that mulch, they can give it away for free, or they can, even if they have a yard, they can sell it on to customers as garden mulch. Palm trees are a little different. It can't be mulched. It can be, but it's very bad for the mulching machine because the acid levels do rust the machines quite quickly, and it cannot be put back onto the garden because of the high acid levels. If it were to rain and that was to seep into the ground, which it most likely would, is not good at all for your plants. It also creates a very thick sort of mat that oxygen can't get through that well. It's just horrible for the garden. So they actually have to be disposed of at waste facilities, and it's not disposed of as green waste, which is a lot cheaper. It's disposed of as general waste, which is always a lot more expensive. So a large date palm, like the one pictured here, if you can't see it and you're just listening, I'd say it's about 2 stories high. The trunk is maybe about 3 feet in diameter, maybe 2 to 3 feet in diameter. And so yeah, it's quite a bit of timber there. You'd probably be looking at least 2 or 3 in sort of rural areas, up to $500 in city areas for dumping. So it is quite an expense. One way to mitigate that is if your city has street cleanups, which most do once or twice a year, where they allow people to put household goods and rubbish out for a free collection once or twice a year. It'd be a good idea to line up your palm removal with that. Or if you have a green bin, you can have your tree service cut the tree up into manageable sizes, and they don't have to lug it away, which they would prefer. Plus you can, over the next couple of weeks, fill up your green bin, and it can be lugged away as green waste or general waste, which is completely free of charge. So that would be a good way to get around it. So that is it from me. If you wanted to get some quick prices for what it might cost for your particular palm tree, it's all well and good to hear what it might cost, but everyone's tree is different. Everyone's access to their property and whatnot, and the area are all different. So you are best getting a quote. Another way to save on the price of palm tree removal is to maybe wait to the cooler months. There's not a lot of tree work happening in the cooler months, especially in the northern states. Maybe Florida, palm trees are getting removed all year round, but it still would drop off a little. But yeah, if you can wait till the winter months, supply and demand dictates that you just won't pay as much. You generally can save anywhere from 15 to 20% off the cost of palm tree removal. So that is it from me. Best of luck with your palm job. This is Ben.